Get ready, boys.
Knowledge for me.
Look at us. We're in the podcast studio. Haven't been here for a little while. We won't be here again for a while because there's so many games, which we'll touch on. But we have breaking news about a waiver claim. So let's start the show because we have a lot to get into. And Alex Petrovic is going to join us at 2:30. So let's go. DLS Stars podcast starts right now.
Listen to this one, motherfucker.
Hey, everybody, this is the DLS Stars podcast for Tuesday. I had to look it up, December 16th. Why? Because it's game or non-game. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. Alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, and, of course, our producer, Ryan. What's his nickname today?
Well, funny you should ask.
Oh, we got something here.
I've been thinking about it, and I did a little reconnaissance.
Okay.
Okay. And we've come up with it.
Oh, tell us.
Do we have a reveal?
Oh, Shaft. Ryan Shaft Vaughn.
And I just wanted to be 100% sure. Shaft, you know, it's a pretty, it can have a lot of different meanings. I checked with Ryan's wife, Amy, and she confirms that's a good name for him.
Hey, now. There you go.
As soon as she heard Shaft, she said, oh, that's him.
I do like the idea of hot fudge, but Shaft will work if he approves.
Speaking of hot fudge.
Yes.
Who would buy Pop-Tarts with no frosting on them? Seriously.
DLS would.
No frosting.
You should have seen his face
The
when he
only
ate that.
reasonable people that would buy unfrosted Pop-Tarts are the ones before they were originally developed and brought to market,
What
right?
was that, like in the 20s?
Yeah, before they existed.
Maybe that wouldn't surprise me that those are from the 20s out
Check
there.
the expiration date.
Yeah. Well, we could put it up in the fridge
1945.
next to my lunch.
1964 is when Pop-Tarts were launched by Kellogg.
Yes, but not with
You don't think
frosting
there was
on it.
frosting?
No,
at
that's
the
just, I'm
time?
saying that's
Yeah.
the initial launch.
Okay. Well, I
But
just think
what did
it's
you do
ridiculous.
once you realized they didn't have frosting?
I
on
tried
it?
to put them back in the wrapper and stick them back in the box, so they're a
Literally
little
just
open.
Shoved them back in.
I love it. So we have Ryan Shaft Vaughters. I don't know if that rolls off the tongue yet, but we'll work on it. And don't forget, before we get into the show and talk about Pop-Tarts, we have a relatively new, it's been out for a week or two now, hat collection. These are branded Bills hats of All City DLS. Check them out. 4 really nice ones. I don't know about you, Luds, but I got a notice this morning that my order has shipped. I don't know if yours has. Oh, wait a minute. You don't know how to get into that
I was
email.
just going to say, how do I know that?
There's no way for you to know.
Did you get his finally?
Well, we got it going.
I didn't ship yet.
But anyway,
yeah,
It's a bunch
and
of baloney.
and there were people here that were actually
Now-
blaming you for sending me in the wrong direction.
my recent order did not have any of the hats in them, so maybe that was easier for them.
You're getting an order without hats in them?
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Well, what's the
hats
point of
haven't
getting
shipped yet? I don't think.
I was able to get some really nice DLS sweatshirts. That
Oh,
are
you're
on
not getting
sale.
hats, though.
Not on this order.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And
Which ones are on sale?
I wish I knew.
The
What,
that.
eyewear?
DLS Collegiate one
Oh, I like that one.
is, I believe, on sale for just
I have one that has
$29.99.
2 markets on the front of it.
Yes, I've been wearing that one, but I
Denver
wanted to
and
get
Philly.
the DLS one. So anyway, let's get into our show today. But check out our website, alldls.com, and you can get those hats. They are very, very good looking. The big story of the morning, and by the way, we are going to have defenseman Alexander Petrovic joining us live at about 2:30 today. So live guest on the show. We can't wait to talk to Petro. Should be a lot of fun. But before we do that, we had a bunch of stuff to get into, and we had to pivot. Go ahead, Sam. You didn't get
Pivot?
triggered? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're a Friends guy.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure if that's where you were going with
Oh,
it.
yeah. I mean, Ross,
It's the
pivot.
best- it's the best
Pivot.
episode.
Because Vladislav Kolyachonok was claimed off waivers today by the Boston Bruins, which means he is now a Bruin and will remain in the NHL. And the Dallas Stars lose a depth piece of their defense. So, instant reaction. We have a lot to get to on this. Sam, this is disappointing because we liked his game, but when you sit down and rationalize it, well, you can be sad about it as a fan. You should not grieve for this because this isn't as though they lost one of their top 6.
Yeah, and the question, we knew this was going to happen when they started getting a little more healthy. Both Kolyachonok and Capobianco have been incredible for this team during all the injuries they've had, but as soon as they started getting closer to full health, we knew that someone was going to have to go down, and unfortunately both had to clear waivers because of how many games they've played and their age. Capobianco being 28, Kolyachonok's 24, so there was some question whether Capo would be less intriguing on the waiver wire, but you never really know that. And what this tells me is that the Stars management saw that Kolyachonok was lower on the depth chart than Capobianco at the moment. And we were talking before the show, if you really look at it, with a healthy team, Kolyachonok's your number 9. You don't think too much about waiving your number 9. It becomes, he's a good player. He helped this team out when he needed to. If you lose him, you lose him. If not, it's great. He gets to go down to a Texas team, which can use all the help they can get on the blue line. But the fact that he's claimed shows how well he's played. And then the other part of it is this team's probably going to want to get better on the blue line. So if you're thinking about maybe adding someone, that he becomes even lower on your depth chart or even more established as a 9. So I think as much as fans liked how way he played and we've liked the way that he stepped up, it wasn't something that's going to change the way this season goes. He's probably 8, 9 on your depth chart when you're healthy and still below the guys even when you're not healthy.
Luds, what's your initial reaction to hearing the news that Kolyachonok was claimed by Boston?
Everything that Sam said. My initial reaction is good for him.
Yeah,
go someplace where he can get a chance to play,
and he will.
Yeah, and he should. And I just and you can look at this. And I'm like, well, he's tilted a little bit more to the defensive side, and we know he skates and things like that. But you've got Essa, you've got Lyubushkin, you've got Bichel, Petro, and so that's kind of that side there. And then obviously with Miro and Harley and Nils, that's your offensive side. So whether it was going to be Coco Cabana the other way, if you used him there, I would say, well, you do have pretty offensive guys that are established already. You really don't. If somebody had to go, because I think that a big body that skates well for this game, younger. Nothing against Coco. I'm just saying, like, I think that he can be that kind of piece that you're looking for. But like I said, the bar is full. There's no rooms left at the end. So they made their decision, and maybe they were hoping that he didn't go. Maybe they were hoping that.
I'm sure they were.
They would just kind of let's hope nobody picks him up. Which, again, if you're doing your job, I'm talking about other teams and pro scouting, whatever. If you're doing your job and you watched him play, you'd be, no, we can take a chance on this kid.
So we have a super chat that has to do with it, so we're going to jump right to it. Kolyachonok from that one guy, 19820, with a I know that's weird, right? The DeSmith and a 99 cup here. Us Kolyachonok Stars fans, me, are in mourning.
I think there's more than just you.
I get it. And there's quite a few in that reaction because on a selfish note, from a Stars perspective, you wished that he would clear because for 2 reasons. One, you keep that depth in your pipeline available if you have injuries and need a call-up because you've already shown through 11 NHL games this year that you're comfortable with him playing in that role. And the Texas Stars have not been very good this year. And it hasn't helped that they lost Capobianco and Kolyachonok and Ritzgovian all to NHL call-ups. Petrovic from last year. Yeah. I don't think that was ever the plan this year, but
it's one of their key
idea.
Contributors.
And if everybody was healthy, then maybe Adam Ernie gets sent down or Nate Bastian gets waived or something, and suddenly you have another NHL player on your AHL ranks, and that helps everything. So you would wish that would be the case to help your AHL team, which then helps that development because they're not very good right now. But Luds, you said it, and I think that's really important. The waiver system is to help from the player's perspective, guys from being buried in the minors. Yep. And, again, from a Texas, Dallas Stars perspective, it would be nice to still have him, but he is not going to supplant anybody in your top 8 right now. The question is, Sam, 24 years old, he'll be 25 in March for Kolyachonok. Capobianco's 28.
Yep.
I mean, I know he's younger, but it's not like Capo's 32 and you're saying, well, that, because here's the thing. You cannot keep Kolyachonok on the NHL roster to preserve an asset and not have him play. At 24, he's young enough. He still needs to be playing. He shouldn't be that 7, 8, 9 defenseman that sits in the stands, eats popcorn, and then is ready. Like Capobianco at 28, 29, he also wants to play, but I think it's a little easier to have him scratched and keep him, especially with Bischel hurt, than it. Kolyachonok either needs to play in the NHL or needs to play in the AHL. I think that's why they made that decision.
Yeah, I think so too. And I wonder from Lud specifically too, is you just mentioned you liked Kolyachonok. What do you think, if you're looking at it from Jim Nill and his team's perspective, what was the main reason for picking Capo over Kolyachonok?
Well, I look at the identity of the team. This is the team that gets up and they like to go and they like to have offense from defense, and you can exit. Coco, he can exit the zone. He can skate. He can bring it through the neutral zone. I don't want to compare him to anybody on the team right now, but he's a little bit more like a Thomas Harley, probably, or Nils, but I think he's he's a confident player. I think of Capo being confident in his skills because we've seen him, both of those guys. The more games that they played and the more minutes they were getting within those games, you could see him flourish a little bit more, take some chances. And, we got Petro coming on today, hopefully. Well, I mean, it's always, we never know what the hell's going on here. But I mean, you look at Petro's game, how it's taken another level. And the reason for that, he's getting a regular shift. And he's playing 15, 17, 18 minutes. And so you're not playing not to make mistakes, because I may not get a shift for another 3 or 4. And so that's what I see out of Coco. I think that he was playing with confidence, and he was, and I think he's hearing that not just from the coaches. I think he's hearing it from the players, because the way this team wants to get up and go and play fast, that's what he does. And so I think maybe that's a little bit of a tipping point there. If a Thomas Harley goes down again, or I don't want to say Miro, because Miro's, got himself at that level. A Nils goes down again, even though, maybe Thomas and him are the same side left shots, but you can throw him in there for 15 minutes a night, and you can still get that offense that he brings, and the skating ability and a little more east-west play in his game. So that's probably, I think it fits their identity a little bit.
And he was running the second power play unit. I know they didn't go to that full second unit a ton, but he was there with Lindell as that next offensive guy, especially when Nils was out. So I think that gives a little bit of a boost as well.
Interesting to see what Boston does. I know that we're not going to spend a lot of time on the reasons why they claimed him, because we know Kolyachonok was a good player, what he brings, but Boston has Henry Jokiharju, who's a right shot D, on IR, Jordan Harris, a left shot D, on LTIR, and then Michael Callahan, another left shot D, on IR. I don't know what their statuses are, but it looks, just on quick glance of their defensive depth, they have 8D now with Kolyachonok on their roster, but he has to stay up. They can't send him down, and they'd have to put him back on waivers, and he could be reclaimed. So the question is, maybe one of the other young defensemen they have gets sent down.
Yeah.
I would think they're claiming him to play.
I
and
agree.
So when you look at that, like McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm are their big guys. Then you have Nikita Zadorov and Mason Lohrei. That's right now their 4.
See, he fits more into me of a Zadorov kind of player, because Boston's always had an organization that wants to play with some grit. They want to be a heavy team. They want to, and again, as much as you can say that anymore nowadays, but that's still that's in their DNA. And I think you look at Kolyachonok and you see his size and the potential of him playing that way, because there were times that he did. I don't think he went over the top. When we first saw Leon Bischel, you knew what his game was. He's not that. Can he be that? I would hope so, because with his size and his skating ability, I think he can deter some people from coming down his side of the ice if he wants to add that to his game. So I just think that they see it as a fit. It just surprises me that it almost went like an hour before the deadline is up. Kind of thing. It honestly surprised me that it went that long. And again, maybe I grew to like him too much, and like I said, he just seemed to do the right thing. What I really liked about him, again, I said this earlier, he just kept getting better, I thought. Every shift, every game.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
I was just going to say the last thing, that when you really break it all down, it sounds super simple, but essentially that trade in the summer for Matt Dumba for Vladislav Kolyachonok, and the Stars gave up a second-round pick, I think, in 2028. So basically, at this point, with everything, Dumba's in the AHL for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep.
Kolyachonok's now claimed by Boston. Stars basically in the end gave up a second-round pick to dump Matt Dumba's
cap
contract,
space, right? Which is
what we expected.
I mean, but they also got 11 games out of Kolyachonok during an injury plaguing where they look again, as Sam said. He may be, if you add a player at the deadline, if we're talking about Rasmus Andersson or another defenseman to the depth, now he's your number 10. You have a young Trey Taylor we all liked in training camp, right? I don't think that Kolyachonok in camp and preseason looked any better than Taylor.
Yep.
He looked great I thought he looked much better in the NHL games, and maybe Taylor's got that in the future. So
the other thing I would say, and it's just a little thing, there were times when he got out there and he played his offside. And he looked very comfortable. To me, that's something
he
too.
played with Capo a bunch.
Yeah, and he was on his offside, and he looked comfortable playing his offside as a defenseman. So that's just a little
really
thing.
rattled at all, did he? He looked
never. I don't recall him.
Overall.
I remember his first couple shifts.
Yep.
And I went, oh yeah, and then he settled in. But again, understandable, young player getting his first kick at the can, wherever it is. But again, I kind of look at the trajectory of what he did.
All right, we're going to transition from a young defenseman claimed off waivers to a Norris Trophy candidate getting traded next here on the DLS Stars podcast, not post game, just a podcast. If you haven't already checked out Wild Fork Foods, you are missing out. They have 9 DFW locations: Plano, Frisco, North Richland Hills, Flower Mound, Wiley, Addison, Las Colinas, Prosper, closest to my house in McKinney, and Louisville, which is where they were just at DLS over the weekend. And they had a big tasting. Talk about great food for the grill. They had, I believe, bison jalapeno cheddar sausage, which I know Luds even took a bite of yesterday as some leftovers. Anyway, big hit. Everybody's loving it. You need to check them out, wildforkfoods.com. Why? Because they offer everything, all of the meats you could possibly want, plus side dishes and even desserts. They blast freeze everything so it maintains more freshness. And of course, I tried their brisket a couple weeks ago. It was chef's kiss. Frozen is fresher at Wild Fork Foods. Check out their organic grass-fed 85% lean ground beef, $5.60 each when you buy 2. Wildforkfoods.com. You can't beat it.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I and everybody make decisions every day, but with Prize Picks, you can get paid for being right. Prize Picks makes it super simple to do so. They offer stacks, meaning you can put all of your money on one player. Josh Allen, Cam Ward, whoever you want to pick. You can say more or less passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, and get all your winnings if one player hits all of those for you. They also offer the chance to follow other players. So if you know nothing about it, like the NFL and Sam Nessler, you can follow players that know what they're talking about and copy their lineup directly so that you can win, whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone else who picks you like. It's easy to follow and copy their lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
All right. Moving on to the Quinn Hughes trade, and depending on how much time, maybe the Skinner Jarry trade, because we're going to talk to Alexander Petrovic, the Stars defenseman, at 2:30. So in the next segment, we can't wait to get him on, and especially hear a couple of NHL D-men share things. So we have a bunch of Stars things we wanted to get to, and we're pushing them because of the Kolyachonok stuff. And because the Quinn Hughes thing, and Sam made a good point when we were talking before the show, is pretty relevant currently. Now, Quinn Hughes in the Central Division is going to be a while, but let's get to it because it was a huge deal, massive blockbuster trade. Minnesota and your buddy, our friend of the show, Bill Guerin, sent 4 first-round picks, essentially. 3 former first-round picks, players, in Zeev Buium, Liam Ogren, Marco Rossi, all first-round picks for the Wild, and then a future first-rounder to the Vancouver Canucks for Quinn Hughes. Hughes has already made his debut. He scored a goal. They beat, coincidentally enough, the Boston Bruins, we just talked about, and looked pretty excited for a new chapter. And, okay, we're going to talk about all the implications of what it means for the Central and the trade and everything like this. I want to start with, this is a salvaging of a failure by the Vancouver Canucks. What do I mean by that? The Canucks failed because they had a generational talent. Quinn Hughes is one of the best defensemen in the world. He's in the category with Cale Makar. We like to think Miro Heiskanen is in that group. When he was in his prime, Roman Yossi's probably up there, Victor Hedman. There are a few elite defensemen, Drew Doughty in his day, right? The guys that are 1-1s, not just on their team, but you might be the best defenseman that the franchise has ever had.
Yeah.
And if it isn't, maybe you're the second best, right? They had a team that looked like they were going to be a pretty good core. And then things really went south last year, especially between the clash of personalities with Elias Pettersson and JT Miller. And it led to the downfall of a whole group of, it looked like the spine of the team was good, especially when Thatcher Demko was healthy. And then it turned into just this saga, this drama, all this stuff. So it's a failure for the Canucks because they lost their franchise player. They didn't keep they have a nice city. Vancouver's a beautiful place. And we'll talk, if we have time today, about the Buffalo Sabres and palm trees, because that's a funny quote from their now former GM, Kevin Adams. Most importantly is, can you win here, right? Any NHL city. There are ones that have certain desirables, right? Location, coasts, water, weather, all that kind of stuff. Most taxes, but most importantly is, can you win with this club? And I think that is ultimately where they failed. Now, once they got to the point where they determined that they had to trade Quinn Hughes, and the rumors are unconfirmed, although they've been reported that perhaps Quinn Hughes requested a trade, or at the very least told them he would not re-sign when his deal is up in a year and a half, that they knew kind of a little earlier, and maybe rightly so, whereas the Colorado Avalanche got it wrong with Mikko Rantanen, because Rantanen has specifically said publicly he was never wanting to leave, that Quinn Hughes wanted to leave, he did not want to re-sign. So they salvaged, I think, with a very good deal by getting 4 first-round picks, essentially, for Quinn Hughes. But for Minnesota, it's a coup, because to me, this is what the Stars did last year. They didn't know Quinn Hughes was going to be available. The Stars didn't know Mikko Rantanen was available. They pivoted, reacted, and they got a generational superstar, and at a cost that was palatable. A lot, but it's Quinn Hughes. It's Mikko Rantanen. Thoughts?
The Central got a little tougher. I think, unfortunately, one of the top 3 defensemen in the Central are going to be out in the first round.
I hate that.
Have to be.
That's probably what's going to happen. I mean,
they're not changing the format
is Jimmy Rutherford put out a list of what he wanted. Billy Guerin's the only one that met it. Gave him every position that he was asking for. Gave him draft pick. Gave him Bullion.
Hot fudge.
Denver Pioneer.
I got that Bullion up in my cupboard up there. I put it in the chicken soup.
Chicken broth.
Yeah, chicken broth.
The little cubes.
He got and Billy even said, he goes, I was surprised as hell when he called me and said, deal.
You heard his comments. He was making meatballs.
Yeah, I heard a few things. But and good on. I mean, Minnesota right now, and look at what Billy Guerin has done. I mean, ever since he took those 2 guys and bought them out and all that kind of stuff, starting with Suter and Zach and things like that. But look at all the steps that he's made. They're probably his next move, whether he wants to or not, and if he can do it, if he can get a centerman, if he can get a number 1 centerman, and you want to talk about the spine of your team. Oof. I mean, you got Kaprizov, right? You've got that. The goaltending now seems Boldy, of course. But I mean, he's got,
and the goaltending is really
the power play
transformed.
now becomes like next level.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because of Quinn. So they're a team that you have to pay attention to now.
And wasn't it surprising because they got out of the major cap hit issues of the Suter Parisi contract?
Well, and he took
didn't
heat,
do it this
but
summer.
He took heat
he
for
did.
it, and he didn't care. Billy Guerin, he's a gunfighter. I mean, he shoots out. You know what I mean? Like, he's not afraid to take bold steps. And he actually even made a comment when he first got there. He goes, GMs are supposed to take bold steps. You make bold moves. I mean, if you want to get better, you got to make bold. That's what he's done. And he went through the years. He paid. He did his sentence. With not being able to spend money, bring players in, and then all of a sudden, and the timing of it. I remember asking Billy, like, were you really this smart to look that far in advance when those contracts were going to be up, that you could go out and I said, when you got Kirill, it was his first year, I think it was. Like, did you know, number one, he was going to be that good of a player?
Yeah.
And because the timing of it, when those contracts were getting finished, he was able to offer the money to Kaprizov. And then now, the moves that he's making, good on him. I mean, Jim Nill may not be getting number 4.
Yeah.
Sam, let me ask you this. It's the biggest risk of this is he did. So Luds is absolutely right. Guerin was bold and he made his initial offer and he didn't try to nickel and dime it, right? He didn't try to slip in 3 guys instead of 4,
Yep.
right? They met. I think there were other teams that had the wherewithal. I mean, the one that stands out a lot is Detroit, is that they could have really, I mean, obviously the Devils with the Hughes, but Detroit apparently had the pieces, but they maybe didn't want to give up one of the guys that could have gotten Quinn Hughes. And you're sitting there going, you could have had Quinn Hughes and Moritz Seider playing together.
Yep.
That's insane. Like, why wouldn't you have done that? But not only did Guerin do it, he did it without the assurances of an extension.
Yeah.
1.5 years of contract left. This is where it comes back to my comment about Buffalo and palm trees and Kevin Adams' line. Bill Guerin is maybe taking a risk. Maybe he's confident. If I develop this team to win, Quinn Hughes is going to want to stay. And I heard a comment, our favorite other podcast, not ours, but from Elliot Friedman, about the way that the relationship between Bill Guerin, the USA Hockey GM, and Quinn Hughes at the Four Nations. Remember, Quinn Hughes was hurt, wanted to try to play, and how that worked. And he remembered that. And now this goes through. And I'm telling you this, and this is nothing that you guys haven't heard of before, but the way a GM interacts with players goes a long way. Jim Nill has benefited from really strong player relations for years, and Bill Guerin is doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and there's so many sides to it, but if you look, it's a risk. You just said it. If they were to give up all of these players that are key parts of their team or key future parts of their team or literally a first-round pick, and they lose Quinn Hughes after 1.5 years, what if they win a cup? They do not care, right? And that's what Jim Nill said. Pierre LeBrun did an article in The Athletic talking to the GMs of Colorado and Dallas, just kind of their
Chris
reaction.
McFarland and Jim Nill.
And they all said the same thing, like what you just said. They weren't preparing the season going in saying, we're going to go get Quinn Hughes this year. But when that kind of player becomes available, you make moves you necessarily wouldn't want to make. Logan Stankoven was not tradable, untouchable player for Dallas. Mikko Rantanen becomes available. Nobody is really untradeable.
Well, you said it. Thomas Harley, you would have traded Harley for Hughes.
That would have been probably what they needed, right? And I know the Devils were Simone Nemec is one of their big young defensemen. Dawson Mercer is one of their key forwards. Those are players they probably would have, and they just didn't give out enough. But the key here, for what you're talking about relationship-wise, is Quinn Hughes just watched Bill Guerin pay Kirill Kaprizov the most money in NHL history.
Yes.
He's building a team, taking risks to build a team that is trying to get over a hump of getting past the 2 teams that are right now in front of them, Dallas and Colorado, in the Central Division. If you're Quinn Hughes and you're looking, that's a team that wants to win. That's a team that has incredible goaltending right now, young goaltending that's probably going to be good for a long time. It's a team that's right behind these teams who are already supposedly established contenders, and it's a team that's paying money to the players who make it worth their time to pay money. Why not go there? It's the state of hockey. He already mentioned it's closer to his family, a little closer to Michigan for him as well, closer to his brothers on the East Coast. There are a lot of wins here, and if Quinn Hughes gets this team and it doesn't work, which it looked like it already did because he scored a goal in his first game, and it doesn't work, no risk for him. He gets to not sign and he gets to go somewhere else.
Here's what Billy Guerin is being known for. His word. When he told ownership that he thought the best thing to do would be to buy those 2 guys out because down the road we've got this kid coming, we're going to have to take care of him. And then what he does is he tells Kaprizov, one of the reasons that he decided to sign there, Kaprizov is very similar to Connor McDavid, is, hey, we're going to build a winner here. We're going to get the team here. What does he do after he signs him to a contract a few months ago? He goes out and he gets Hughes. Now you put all those three things together, and now what he's told Hughes, and he's got, like you say, he's got another 1.5 years left. Hughes is going, well, he just did that, then he did that, and he told me, and I told him, here's what I'm looking for. I want to win, blah, blah, blah. I like Minnesota, all this kind of stuff. Billy Guerin bought himself a year and a little bit to go out and find a centerman or whatever they all think that next piece is going to be. I think he's just living up to his word.
We're going to talk more about this as how it implies with Essential later. But we've got to go to break because we're supposed to talk to Alexander Petrovic. The Stars defenseman will join us next here on the DLS Stars podcast. Aura Frames is a phenomenal solution to your holiday shopping issues or problems or list because they're fantastic. And whether it's a last-minute gift idea or you've been planning it all along, the recipient is going to think that this is a very thoughtful, well thought out, and previously planned gift. These digital frames are so easy to use. In fact, I just bought one for a relative, which might watch the show, so I can't say, but you get a QR code you can scan on the box and set it up in the Aura Frames app and preload gift messages and photos and videos before that recipient even unboxes it, and it's ready when it hits Wi-Fi for the first time. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. That's auraframes.com, promo code DLLS. This deal exclusive to our listeners, and mention us at checkout.
You know that moment when you realize that you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or the pub, or you found out your wife sat on them? Mm-hmm. Well, we've all been there. Then we heard about Shady Rays, and it changed the game. These sunglasses are made for real life. Seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not, I repeat, not stupidly expensive. And here's the best part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear. On the bike, concerts, even if your wife sits on them, or if you're coming down the chimney in 9 days. Ho, ho, ho. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Just head over to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. Shady Rays, they're rated 5 stars by over 500,000 people.
I didn't have to log in.
All right, we're still waiting to be joined by Alexander Petrovic. He's not yet connected, so while we wait, we have lots to talk about. So this is perfect to go right into the next part of this. One quick follow-up on the Quinn Hughes trade and the article that Pierre LeBrun wrote in The Athletic, Sam referenced, where he talked to both Chris McFarland and Jim Nill, the GMs of the Avalanche and Stars, was Jim made the comment of, it's making all of us better, right? It's kind of like an arms race. The Avalanche traded Rantanen to the Hurricanes. They get Marty Necas because they were afraid they were going to lose him. They also added Jack Drury in that. Then they went at the deadline and got Brock Nelson. They were able to re-sign him. They got Charlie Coyle. Well, they did not re-sign him, but they think they made their team better. Then the Stars turn around and get Rantanen from Carolina, and it's like, whoa, everybody else in the Central's on notice. You have a good team that went to the conference final twice, and now you added Mikko Rantanen. And now Minnesota's doing the exact same thing. So, well, it makes it hellish and a nightmarish plan for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. It is also really cool to see them push. Who's going to land the next punch? Who's going to make the next move? Well, a team that they faced in the conference final the last 2 years, to Ludz's point earlier about Stan Bowman and the Edmonton Oilers having to make assurances to Connor McDavid. McDavid signed a short-year extension. He gave them an opportunity over the next couple of seasons to show me the money, so to speak. Not financially, literally, but to improve the team. And so what did they do? They traded Stuart Skinner along with Brett Kulak and a second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they received an AHL forward in Samuel Poulin and also Tristan Jarry. Now, Jarry's already played for the Oilers. They beat the Leafs. It looked weird because he had his Pittsburgh Penguins mask with his Oilers colored pads and everything. Is it just time for them to move on? Because Jarry, when he's on, he can be really, we saw him play against the Stars last weekend. He can be really, really good. But was it just time for something different than continuing to roll out with Stuart Skinner in Edmonton?
What don't I like? Distractions.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always the conversation in the room. And when it's great when you win a hockey game and Skinner gets the win, but the noise all starts when there's not. And I think for both sides, and Stan Bowman had said this morning, it just was time, and it's going to be good for Skinner to move out of this, because he said it was hard for him. It was hard for him to be here, and he's from there. He loves it there, all the same stuff. But then Jarry on the other side, Jarry played for the Oil Kings. He's got a house in Edmonton, so it's a good move for him. He wants to.
He's
come
comfortable
there.
there.
He spends the summers there apparently, and so it just seems like it was the right thing. Now the little difference is, though, is Skinner going to be in Pittsburgh at the end of this year? He may, be out there, and because his deal's done,
what do you
will
think?
they want him?
Let me ask you that, because I understand why the Oilers made the deal. They think they got better in goaltending, right?
Well, they got better. Not
Maybe
I think that's TBD yet. Do you want to wrap this up?
Just real quickly, and we'll get to Petro. Pittsburgh, what's their motivation here? Do they think that getting Brett Kulak and a second-round pick and Stuart Skinner was beneficial to them? Did they think that in the end they weren't going to win a Stanley Cup at where they're currently at with Tristan Jarry?
See, that I don't know. I think they may be worried that Jarry may go back to who he was last year.
Yeah.
But that was the worst year of his career,
It was.
and it wasn't like that. So I think they're regardless of how they're doing right now, they're still in a rebuild. I mean, who knows if Malkin's going to be there, Crosby's going to be there, but maybe. I mean, he may decide to go someplace else. But anyway, let's get on to bigger and better things.
All right, so he's here. We're ready. He
There
is.
he
Look
is.
at
There he
that. Alex Petrovic joining us on the show live. And Petro, first and foremost, thank you very much. You're on your day off, which is very, very nice to do, because you certainly didn't have to, but we love it. And I'm going to let Luds get started, because we all are fans of your game. But this guy over here has been pounding the table for Petro for pretty much the entire time you've been part of the Dallas Stars, including when you were basically an AHL player and then a hired gun for the playoffs. So, Luds?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that situation, Petro. You should have been here. Anyway, I'm not. Owen generally is the guy that blows smoke around here, so I'm not. I want to ask you. I could leave these guys out and take up your whole time.
Do it.
No,
Let's go.
I just wanted to know. They always talk about defensemen in their younger years. I want to go back to your younger years a little bit, right? So you played a couple hundred games, 250 some games with Florida. You had Kevin Dineen, you had Gallant, and you had the Boogeyman. And I'm just curious, in those developments for you, that's Bob Bugner, by the way, for the people that don't know. Was there one of those three coaches? And I know you had Gallant a little bit longer than the other two, but was there one of them that you look back and they had something, that sticks out for you in your development?
Definitely. I think, I remember Gallant just, I think he was a lot different. Honestly, for me, it was more Tom Rowe, which, might not be the happiest name around Florida, but I think, he kind of ruffled some feathers, but I think, he kind of, down in the minors, he definitely pushed me, to my limits. I was the guy that I needed. I don't know, you could say I was just lazy, not lazy, but just, I don't know, not healthy, not working the hardest that I could work. And I think he was a huge part of just me kind of just getting to that next level. And then when I played for Gallant, it was, it was nice. He hated doing video, and he just wanted us to go out and play and just use our instincts and play, kind of like how Gully is doing it here in Dallas and telling us how to play. But just letting us go play, and that was huge for me. I think just having that freedom a little bit and just using your instincts and letting it go. So that was huge. But Kevin Dineen, I only had for probably 9 or 10 games, and then Bob Bugner, he was I didn't have the greatest start to his first year. We didn't have the best relationship, but when I look back, I don't blame him for doing what he did. I kind of deserved kind of everything I got, and just kind of had to look in the mirror and again had to find that next level again. So they all kind of helped me in my journey to get to where I am today.
Petro, I got to jump in on the Tom Rowe, because he was my first AHL head coach back with the Albany River Rats in 2007. And I remember more than one player who were the Hurricanes affiliate at the time telling me that Tom, for those that don't know, was a heck of a player back in the 70s, very hard-nosed, and he's an old-school guy. You know this very well, who would rather use a VCR than a Blu-ray player. And and I know that your old equipment guy in San Antonio actually had to go looking for VCRs at a pawn shop because that's what Tom wanted to use. But that's another story. I know that he's an old school, old fashioned guy. He would scare and intimidate just about anybody. And I remember a couple players saying he makes me hate hockey sometimes or many times, but I know he's making me better. Accountability was so big with him, wasn't it?
Huge. I think, I think just he kind of came in when I think players just didn't respond well to that type of, criticism, whatever, which, I think some guys take it personal, but for me, it was just like, I don't know, whatever he was saying, he knew. Like he coached in the NHL. He's had success there, and I don't know, deep down, maybe I knew, I don't know, but like you said, accountability is huge. Like, I mean, I was showing up to practice late, a couple times, and he called me to the office. He threatened to send me down to the East Coast League and this and that. And then, he healthy scratched me for probably 2 weeks. And every day for those 2 weeks, I had to come in at around 6 a.m. before everyone. And I'd have to work out with our trainer. I'd have to have a meal, like a meal log of everything I ate during the day, and do full practices, and then do bag skate after, just with Tom, and then some of the scratches as well. So,
Wow.
it was a wake up call though. Like I needed it. It's what I needed to kind of break through, and he definitely helped me get my shot up in Florida. So
Are you
yeah,
are you at 300 NHL games and another, what was it, 460 plus AHL games, if not for that growing up that you went through there?
for sure, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going hard in practice until he started coaching us. And it was like, even my agent now, Drew Shore, he was on the team at the time, and I just remember him just yelling at us. Like, just he'd pick 2 or 3 guys on the team, and he's usually the younger guys, but he's just making us better. He's pushing us. He's just getting us to that next level. So some guys have it in them naturally to push themselves. At the time, I didn't have it. So, but now I definitely do. So it was good.
Yeah, careful over there, Lutz. It's paid off for you as well. As Lutz was saying, we're a big believer of yours and loved the way you were just able to come up in the last 2 playoffs and be the type of player you were. And we all wondered all summer talking about whether you'd be a full-time player here. So for any of those who haven't heard you talk about it, can you take us back to when did you first learn that you were staying up here in Dallas? What were those conversations like? And then what was that like for you and your family to know that?
I was hearing rumblings just throughout the summer. There's just like little things, talking to people. I didn't hear much from management, which usually you don't on any team. It's just how it is. And, just little things like on Twitter, they were showing different guys each day, on different player profiles, and my name popped up. That was the first time it had popped up ever. So that was kind of a little bit of a clue, but, but I still had to push all summer, train hard, and come in and, definitely play well in camp. It wasn't just going to be given. So, but yeah, once camp went through, and then I just remember sitting on the bike. I was next to Oscar Beck, and Jim just walked by, came out of the coach's office, and then, he turned around, came back, and just said, hey Petro, congrats. Go find a house, and yeah, you earned every bit of it. So, I was just kind of like, it didn't really set in until, I don't know, after I got off the bike, honestly. But then I gave Backer a nudge, told him what Jimmy said, and we high-fived. It was a pretty it was crazy. It's just dream come true again. It's almost like I was never in the NHL before. Now it's kind of just that same feeling. So it was pretty exciting.
That what you just said and the smile on your face it just tells you how important it is to hear those words, even when you're in your 30s. You know what I mean? The dream never dies, and that's the reason that you're at where you're at, is because you knew you had it in you, and you just needed someone to tell you that and give you that chance, and you're taking advantage of it. I want to follow up. You mentioned minors, and the first thing comes to mind for me is that, when you were down in Texas and going back and forth and things like that, and it's just my understanding, I'm not 100% sure, but you guys were playing maybe a different system in down there than it was here. And I want you to talk a little bit about how the difference is. It's a bit of a change, the system that they're playing, and then follow that up with the change in systems this year from Pete to Gully. For a defenseman, I've listen, you probably haven't heard it, but it's a pet peeve of mine, and I hate the other way, and I despise it, and I'm just going to give my reasons why. Is that there's too many times for me is you play a certain way, and where you're supposed to be playing as a defenseman, you're playing where the forwards are, and unfortunately, the bigger problem is when the forwards are playing where defensemen are, and they don't play that position from 3 years on up. So anyway, I just wanted to know the difference for you when you did go back and forth. And am I right that there was a different system down there than there was here?
When Pete first came in his first year, he kind of laid out the systems that we were doing up in Dallas, like in training camp. And then when we were down in Texas in Austin, trying to remember, it was more just the breakouts. So like team dumps it in, and we have to break out a certain way. Our rules were a little bit different. We had a little more freedom down in Cedar Park, versus Pete, where it was just one way. That's it. Like there was just set rules, and which honestly, the next year, I played that playoffs. And it's not hard to like change either. It's pretty simple to pick up. The D zone, everything, D zone coverage was the same. It was kind of like a semi like man on man versus swarm, which I don't know if you want me to explain that, but
well, they've heard me explain it enough.
He talks about it all the time.
You don't need to do that.
Petro, he ranted about it for the entire season last year.
Yeah, but now we can fast forward now. Now what you're doing now, how do you find the change for you guys as defensemen yourself personally under what Gully's got the team doing versus what would have gone on last year and the year before that?
I think it's great. I think it's kind of what we needed. It was more of like before, if we get locked onto a guy, it was like, okay, now we're locked onto him for the rest of the shift in the D zone, and like as a D man, it can feel a little chaotic, and then when you get the puck, you're kind of like, all right, what do I do with it? Where is everyone? Right. I think this year it's helped. We're just at the net, like we stay near the net, and then if the puck comes in our area, we got to try and close quickly. If it's in our quadrant, but if the guy carries it up high, then we just retreat back to our net, and our centerman takes over. So I love it. We used to play it in Providence when I was there. That's what Boston used to play, and I don't know. It just seems like it's a little less chaotic when you're in the D zone, especially when teams start, running around with the puck and moving it much. But a lot of the times you'll see the other team, they have four guys high. They may have one guy at the net and another guy in the corner. And it's like, all right, perfect. That's kind of what, it's kind of what we want, because then the goalie can see the puck. There's not as much chaos in front of the net. And then if they do send two guys at the net and kind of have that, then there's less net to shoot at too. So it's, I like it. I think it's a great system. And, it's kind of one that we had to deal with last year against the Oilers the last 2 years. Yep. And, we couldn't score. So it was, I think it's been good so far.
When you look at your season so far, obviously you snapped a pretty long NHL goal drought. That was fun. You've had some grade A looks that just haven't gone in. And then you watch your D partner do, I think Liam Bichsel struggled to start the year compared to last year. Maybe a little bit of that sophomore slump, whatever. But then he gets hurt. And you've been there. You've gone through this. I still think it's so incredibly cool to see you sort of have this revival of your NHL career in your 30s with your kids now being able to see it a little bit, which is probably even more special. But how empathetic are you to watching Bischel go through the injury and his early stages of his career?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bright future ahead of him. And I think, we both didn't really have the best start to this year, the first 5-6 games, whatever it was, but we were in the D, felt like we were in the D zone a lot. So we got a lot of D zone practice, that's for sure. But I think, that injury sucks. It's, just a freak accident. You see him twist his leg there. It's unfortunate, but I think we got some of the best training staff in the league. I use, Mike Donahue I use his summer programs now the last 3 years, and I've never felt better. So I think you can use this time as as a way to, evolve, get better, get stronger, not just bigger and stronger, but more powerful, more mobile, a little bit more pop, and that's all stuff that Donnie tries to work on us for. So I think I tell him every day, I'm like, once you get back, it's gonna be huge. Like, this is your time. Like, let's get ready. Like, let's work every day, eat right, work out right, do all these things. Because when you get back, you could feel better than before. From the beginning of the year or whatever. So, because he just came off surgery in the summer too. So, he's been through a lot. So I think it's good. And then he's watching, he can see the systems, he can see from above, that helps too. So I just try to take the positives out of it, try to get in his ear a bit and push him that way. But he's been doing good. He's been working out hard. He's still doing upper body and all that. So they got him on a good program.
We're almost out of time.
Can I ask one more, Ryan, or we have to hit a break?
Okay, so I want to end with this then. I was just looking up your old San Antonio Rampage roster from your first full year pro, which was my first year in Texas. I had been in the east of the AHL for a bunch of years and then came out to the Texas Stars. And you and Luds share a teammate. I can't believe it, but it makes sense. John Sim.
Oh, God.
Simmer, yeah.
Simmer played with Luds at the beginning of his career in Dallas and toward the end of his career with you in San Antonio. I thought that was...
Petro, I'd love to get your opinion on this little nut.
What a connection.
I mean, he was awesome. He's a legend, honestly. The one thing I remember is he'd always, in practice before, when we're doing the Indy 500, before practice, he'd switch hands. I think he was naturally, what was he, a righty or a lefty? Whatever.
I believe he's a lefty.
Lefty, yeah. So he'd grab a right-handed stick and start shooting right-handed, messing around on the ice.
Petro,
funny,
he wanted to. Okay, so this is back in the day, as you said. So we approached the game a little bit differently. Maybe I should say we approached post-game stuff a little bit differently, and it didn't usually end until the practice the next day. But Simmer would come in, and he'd just, he'd want to fit in to that part of it, and his hair was all over the place, it's standing up on end. And I said, Simmer, at least take a shower before you come in here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to look like the rest of us do. But I always felt like for John. And as a matter of fact, I was watching his kid play in the juniors last year, I think in the Memorial Cup or something like that. And I sent a message. to our former two buttons, right? And I said, is that Simmer's kid? And he said, yes. And I said, wow. I said, is he as bad as his dad was? And he goes, oh yeah, he's exactly like him. So I don't know him at all. But my thing is that I always felt that there needed to be a league between the minors and the NHL for Simmer. You know what I mean? Like, he was really good there. It seemed like when he came up, and then he just was a little bit on the edge here. It was just one of those kind of things, Really quick. I know we got to go.
Wait, hold on. Alex, can you stay for 5 minutes? Can we take one break and ask you a few more questions?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. We have to do it or we're going to get yelled at. We'll be right back, Alex.
All right, we're not going anywhere, but we're just going to move Petro off the screen for a second here on the DLS Stars podcast.
No worries.
But here's the pressure now, because he gets to listen to you, Luds, and then Sam do a live read.
There's no pressure. All we have to do is look at the hat collection, because that's what I want to talk about again. Because apparently, now that we have them ordered for Luds, the green and the white one over here, we don't know how to know if they're actually coming.
You have to be able to log into your company email.
Oh, that's not.
And I do want to know why we didn't get the Dallas Stars one with a Cadillac logo on it, because we're more of a Cadillac team than anybody else.
That's
up
very
there.
true.
Right?
They're a wagon right
but
now.
we didn't. But anyway, so there they are, and we don't have a Petro shirt, do we? We should have a Petro shirt.
We should make a Petro shirt.
We can
Gas
ask.
pump next
Yeah,
one.
we can ask him after, if we have another minute, what type of design he would want for a shirt.
We'll
if
take
we
it
had
away, Sam.
Yeah. Well, you become a diehard. You get 20% off of those hats, as well as all merch.
Yep.
Plenty of awesome stuff we have on there. You get 20% off events like our takeover that we just had. I know we're going to have another one. I believe we're trying to get back out to Cosm again if we can, like we did last year against the Oilers. Lots of fun, cool events here at DLS for our team, as well as the Mavs, Rangers, Cowboys, all the teams here. And you get 20% off of that. You also get access to all of the written articles. Sean, myself, the Mavs crew, the Clarence on the Cowboys crew, Jeff on the Rangers, so many good writers, and you get access to those, all of them behind the paywall, plus you get no ads when you're reading it, so it makes for a better experience. All kinds of cool stuff. Become a diehard and come join the fun, because it's been a fun year plus here at DLS.
Perfect. Let's bring him back on.
Speaking of joining the fun, I just got a text from Pavelski.
Did you?
But
Anything
listen,
you want to share?
No, I don't want to share
us?
nothing. I don't need to share nothing.
All right, go.
I do want to ask you, Petro, though. Can you talk a little bit about the schedule and this season schedule and stuff like that? We bring it up a lot, and I know all teams are going through it, but just being able to play through all this.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, when I was in Cedar Park the last 4 years, we'd play 2 games, 4 days off, 5 days off, play on the weekends, do that for a while. Then if we go on the road, we play some weekday games and whatnot. So honestly, I kind of love it because, we're playing every other day. But that's me personally, honestly, I love it. Guys like Miro and S, who are playing 25, 30 minutes a night. I don't know how they do it, to tell you the truth. I think those guys are specimens.
They go to Whole Foods to eat. They don't go to bars to eat like us.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
They're animals. It's crazy. I don't know what they're putting in their systems, but must be premium fuel. But yeah, it is a grind though. Like I definitely am noticing, like I am napping a lot more during the day. Before I wouldn't nap as much. Just feeling. I used to never sleep on the plane, like I couldn't, and I feel like every time I'm on the plane, I'm passed out or napping. So that's a little uncharacteristic. I think that just tells you there is definitely a lot of volume, a lot of games every other day, but yeah, I don't know. I think like I said, I don't mind it. I love playing the games. There's nothing better. But yeah, I think it's definitely taking a toll, maybe on a lot of guys. I'm sure it's taking a toll on the game as a whole. Like just seeing both teams, you're probably like some games the fans are probably like these guys, like some of the games look slow.
Oh,
Like,
this
everyone's
is reminding
just
me
tired.
of something.
So
It's reminding me of something. I'm going to ask Petro because you said I could ask him questions.
Fire away.
So
Love
when you talk about taking a toll, and we get it, like the top guys at the minutes and things like that. I'm going to give you 3 players' names and just give me a couple words to describe them. And let's start with Mikko, since you mentioned Mikko. Give me a couple words in your opinion.
Mikko.
Yep.
I mean, just a beast, I'd say. Just an ultimate pro. I guess that's 2 words there. And
You can use more than 2 words.
yeah, he's just, I don't know, feels like he doesn't slow down. Like he's in the gym all the time too, even with all the games. Like he's an animal. So
That's the ultimate pro. Tyler Seguin.
yeah. Segi, poor guy, but up until that point, he was same thing. He's usually one of the first guys at the rink. Ultimate pro, just so dialed into his routine, and just he's been great. He was great for us. It's definitely a huge piece that we're gonna miss.
Okay.
Leadership. And
Let's end with the captain then.
Benner Chubbs. Just from him coming back from his injury. He's been awesome. He's just great energy in the room. Says the right things at the right times. Like he's just, I don't know. Yeah, keeps there's a reason why there's a winning culture here. He's at the head of it. So he's, give him a lot of credit.
Perfect. Good. All right. Last one for you, Alex. Thanks for staying, and thanks for staying a little longer. We appreciate it.
Especially on your day off.
Yes. You already had, as I mentioned, you had a lot of fans from what you did in the playoffs here. But then last year, you guys losing Game 5, you have the opportunity to go sit on a beach somewhere, go recover, do whatever you want to do, and you go down to Cedar Park to play with the Texas Stars in the Calder Cup playoffs. Earned a lot more fans on top of that. So can you take us through that decision and why that was important for you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to drag Bish down with me, but no, he had to take care of his body. He had to get, things sorted out there. So I don't blame him, but yeah, I mean, after the season, they asked me, they didn't really expect me to want to go down, but I wanted to. I was down there, the whole year basically, and just love that group of guys. They're grinding against Abbotsford, and who had a very a skilled veteran team, experienced team. So I thought I hoped I could go down there and help them pull off that win. And then we didn't at the end of the day, but I'm happy that I did go down and tried to bring home a Calder Cup down there for us, for them, and the fans. But yeah, it was unfortunate, but try not to dwell on it. And yeah, it was a special team. It was one of the best teams I've played for. So it was I felt I had to go down and help them out.
All right, last one for me, and we promise we'll let you go, and we really thank you for your time today. What's it mean to you? Because we were talking about playing for the San Antonio Rampage at age 20, but now you're playing back in the NHL. I mean, it's not like you played 5 games. You played over 250 games with Florida, so there's a lot of NHL games. But now you're back here after a big AHL time frame, and you're a dad. You've got a family. Do they know what dad does? Are they appreciative of it yet? And what does that mean to you that they're starting to experience, not just, hear stories of you in your 20s, but to see you playing in the NHL right now?
I mean, they're young. My oldest is 5, almost 6. My second oldest, he's 4, almost 5, and then our little's only 2. So, I don't know if they appreciate it or anything, but it's kind of crazy. The other night, I woke up at like 6 a.m. Our oldest, Luca, he was out on the couch. I opened the door and he's out on the couch watching the Florida highlights. First thing I see is me getting toe dragged in the slot there. And I'm like, oh God. I closed the door. I went back to bed. But it's just funny that he got up, and that's what all he wants to do is just watch the highlights. He's always on Victory Plus watching, like a first period, second period, whatever. And then that's all they do is play mini sticks all day. Like this year, especially, like the last couple of years, it was like, we just let them do what they want, whatever they're doing. But they, that's all they want to do is just play hockey. And, I think they're starting to get it a little more. They're playing hockey here in Dallas as well. They're on a team. So they're loving it. I'm not trying to push them or anything to be anything crazy. If they want to go that route, we'll give them all the tools. But yeah, it's pretty special. It's definitely a reason that I want to see us win a Stanley Cup and have them see it and enjoy it. And that's all they talk about is, oh, did you win? Like they always ask if we won that game, or they're right into it. So it's cool. It's amazing, and I definitely grateful every day for them.
You got to be in the cross ice stage of the youth hockey for sure, right?
Yeah,
I love it. I remember those days. My kids are in high school now. Yep, they're all wedged across. They're going everywhere. It's chaos and it's fun. Well, Alex, I can't tell you how much it's a thrill for you to be on. We love having you. Thanks. Open invitation. Anytime you want to be a recurring guest, we'd love to talk hockey with you. But thank you so much. And thanks for giving us a little bonus time today Just wonderful to have you on your day off, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Alexander Petrovic joining us here. Man, can't wait to see him play their next game in San Jose on Thursday. Luds, we could have done an hour with him easy, right?
Yeah.
We just did. I mean, you probably scratched the surface on your questions.
Yeah, but just low key. You know what I mean? Like, just takes it all in, and just another day at the office.
It's
Love it.
wild that you guys crossed over with John Sim. Isn't that funny?
Of all people.
Of all people. But that's a really quite a from 99 to 2012, I think it was. So we're all set, but we don't have a show tomorrow because we're off because we have Thursday, Friday.
We're off tomorrow?
We have
Yeah.
I
day
didn't know
off
that.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm making sure Luds knows.
And work from home.
I would have been
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, we're going to do remote
gonna work
broadcast
from
because
your
it's
house.
late.
You're
Luds.
going to be in the hot tub with
I'm
me?
going to come to your house. Yeah, we're going to the hot
California
tub.
games. San Jose on Thursday, Anaheim on Friday, and then back home on Sunday to play the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we
The
had
annual L on the schedule.
such a great show. We didn't even get to talk about Jarmo Kekalainen, the new GM in Buffalo. Kevin Adams out. Connor Bedard has what is reportedly a separated shoulder, is out through the rest of December. All sorts of stuff and much more. So we hope you enjoyed it today. It was a lot of fun. We'll be back on Thursday night, pregame show, 8:30. Stars and
Wednesday
Sharks.
night or Thursday night?
Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. No show. Day off.
Today's Tuesday?
Today's
Yep.
Tuesday.
Yep.
I know. Games in
Non-game day and
I just
Friday
wanna-
day.
Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
I want to wrap up with this.
Got it.
Ryan, you have that graphic you made earlier today? This is the first 2-day consecutive non-game days the Stars have had in the last 21 days since before Thanksgiving. We know we have Luds' attention now. But look at that. They did not have 2 days without
I'm
a
looking.
game in 3 weeks.
Huh?
And they went 9-2-1, and the numbers look. That's a grueling schedule.
Are
And
there
today
numbers
and
on
tomorrow.
that board?
Yep.
Where are the numbers?
See, I knew you'd.
I
see
like
any
the
numbers.
99
What?
Ice Girls uniform as well.
Yeah, that's sharp, isn't it?
The
Yeah.
throwback with the
So
pants
there you
as
go.
well, just
It's
like the
been
boys.
really good, and we're about 41% of the season done, which means we have about 58, 59% of the games still to go. 48 games left in the regular season. Big thank you to the Stars, their PR department, and getting Alexander Petrovic. That was a lot of fun. For Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, and Shaft, Ryan Waters, I'm Owen Newkirk. We'll see you Thursday night for Stars and Sharks. Another John Klingberg reunion right here on DLLS.
Listen to this one, motherfucker.
We all silly like the mayor.